guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we have the part 2 banners coming out tomorrow, or I guess it could be later tonight, depending on what time zone you're in. At the time that this video goes up, the banners are going to be coming out in about 8 hours. So that is 5 AM in the UK for me. So I'm probably going to get up and stream about 6, half 6. Everyone else is going to be streaming as soon as the banners come out anyway, so at least this way, if you're in a similar situation like me where it's super early in the morning for you, there will still be some live summons going on for people to watch, because yeah, I really don't want to have to get up at like 4:30 just to stream my summons. So make sure you guys keep an eye out on the channel, hit that bell button and everything so you know when I go live, so you can come and join in, and hopefully we'll get some good luck. But the point of the video is, should you summon on the part 2 banners? Not just going over the banners themselves, but about everything that is going to be coming up for the rest of the year. So we already know, I did a video earlier, the banner is different and much better on Global, because it has Goku and Gohan on it instead of the Great Ape Vegeta. But should you summon on the banners? I mean, obviously the part 1 banner has the most value in terms of the currency you redeem, because obviously red coins, always going to be useful constantly. You know, Dokkan Fest's released pretty much every month, so red coins are always going to be useful. And of course, you know, this banner sees the return of AGL Cell for the first time. It sees the return of STR Kid Buu, which for Global is the first time. So there's a lot of value on here. Full Power Freezer, obviously he's aging a little bit, but he's kind of had a little bit of resurgence. Like, he can be decent on the cooler team. And then AGL UI Goku, unironically, out of all the units on this image, apart from the Krillin and Gohan, UI Goku is probably the one, at least for me, that gets used the least at the moment. But of course, Goku and Vegeta are on here. They are both very, very good. Kid Buu's not on the art, but obviously he will be on the banner as well, because the physical Goku was on the other one. And then for the Carnival banner, I mean, I already talked about it in the video this morning, so I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but this banner is very good. Cooler is very good. Janemba obviously is crazy and is really good on STR Cooler's team, so pulling copies of both of these is going to be really good if you have STR Cooler. And Great Ape Vegeta, he still is very good. Obviously, he just doesn't quite compare to Goku and Gohan, not only being the better unit, but they're on the Tech Goku's team as well. So if you've done well in this celebration and pulled both the Part 1 units, Janemba and Goku and Gohan make great units to go on those teams, and then obviously Metal Cooler is very good himself. So I do think these banners are worth summoning on, but let us see what is going on for the rest of the year, because obviously there is a lot of stuff that we already know is coming out, and then of course I go down the list of things that we know about, but there's also stuff like we have no idea when they're going to finally decide to drop superhero stuff as well. So let's go and see and run it down, and obviously you guys make sure to let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Okay, so bearing that in mind, we are going to look down the schedule of all the things that are currently out on JP, not yet out on Global, that will be coming by the end of the year. Now, obviously, there's always the potential for a few curveballs in there, so I wouldn't say you should 100% plan the rest of your Dokkan year just based off of this, because we never know exactly what's going to happen, and there could obviously be a few curveballs in there. So we obviously have here the JP timeline. This was the end of the anniversary. We got Captain Ginyu as the first post-anniversary Dokkan Fest. Obviously Global, following the trend that it has for the last few years, we of course got him before the anniversary. And then as JP moved on, we went into Saiyan Day, which of course was on both versions at the same time. Then we moved into April, and this is where they got Raditz on JP. Of course, he was then the first Dokkan Fest that released on Global after the anniversary. His Part 2 LR, the Goku and Piccolo, released before the anniversary for Global as well, because the Dokkan Fest that drops like right after the anniversary is always a very short celebration for Global, because then of course we go into the download celebration, which is what we're in now. So then, of course, JP got the Golden Week stuff, which was on both versions at the same time as well. And then we move into May, We're still at the end of the Golden Week stuff. There's the Part 2 LR, Gohan, and Goku. And then we get to the very end of May, literally the last day of May. And this is when the release of the Resurrection of F Blues, Goku and Vegeta came out with the side banner Jacko. So this is the next upcoming Dokkan Fest for Global. This unit is good. They get super underrated, I see all the time on Twitter. Their leader skill is decent. It's nothing too super crazy. Like, you can make a very good team out of it. In terms of, like, new units that got 200% leads, it's mainly, like, the UI Gokus, and then any versions of, like, God Goku that, and, like, God Vegeta, sorry, God Goku that doesn't have the Kamehameha, because obviously no God Vegetas do. Because if there's a God Goku that doesn't have Kamehameha, he won't be on the God's leader skill. Obviously, the God Vegetas weren't because of none of them having Kamehameha. So this is a good way that you can run all of those units together with a 200% lead. Same for the Blues as well. I mean, this unit is good. Like I said, they get underrated. I don't like to talk too much about units that I haven't used myself. You guys know this if you're regular to the channel. But this unit is a solid unit, but they very much fill that role of... I don't mean this to come off as a negative term, but like filler Dokkan Fest, right? Because that's basically what every standalone Dokkan Fest that isn't like a big celebration, anniversary, Tanabata, Golden Week, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? But filler Dokkan Fest can still be super good. But yeah, these guys are a textbook filler Dokkan Fest in that they are a very, very strong unit. But if you don't have them and you're just focusing on pulling like the really big celebration units with some of these crazy all-encompassing leader skills, you're not necessarily gonna be missing out on a huge amount, right? Like for a lot of global players, if you're free to play or don't spend a lot, you can get to the end of the year and it won't particularly matter that you don't have this guy. But I still think they are pretty good. Obviously, I'll be pulling for them because, you know, I pull for everybody. So that was at the end of May. Then we move into June. So as we move into June on JP, we obviously get a couple more Easy A's. This is when the superhero collab first came out on JP. There's another World Tournament. And then we get the Part 2 LR for the Resurrection of F Blues, which is the AGL Golden Freezer. Now, this one is where people are potentially going to... this is going to be the first, like, stop on the road the road trip or whatever, I guess, of whether you want to summon or not. Because if you pulled the LR, STR LR Cooler... this guy is going to be one of the best, like, slot 1 units that you can use on his team. Now, obviously, as the turns go on and you get further into the game, he loses out on damage reduction. So, in, like, a red zone boss like Broly, when you get to the very end, this guy actually won't be tanking as well as, say, like the AGL TUR Golden Freezer, as long as you have his HP restriction, of course. But the trade-off for that is, while still being very good defensively, he does also hit incredibly hard. And he's an LR, so he has legendary power. So, of course, having him in slot 1 and then having LR Cooler in slot 2 works out very nicely. Just like with running the normal metal Golden Freezers in slot 1, you obviously then want to make sure that most of your floating units have big bad bosses so that Cooler can pick that up. Because, unfortunately, he does not have that. But it's one of those things where if you did pull Cooler, this guy should potentially be on your radar. The only problem, of course, is that he is a yellow coin banner LR, so not necessarily like the most optimal unit to be summoning for. We know what yellow coin banners are like, but he's the next stop on the tour, and he is obviously very good if you did pull Cooler. If you didn't pull Cooler, and you're someone who focuses more on the super type units, maybe you pulled like the Tech Super Saiyan Goku and you're going to end up pulling the new AGL Goku and Vegeta, then I probably wouldn't worry about summoning for this guy at all. Although, at the same time, I guess, you know, we're getting missions now for doing events with, like, full extreme teams and stuff. You don't really want to let your extreme side of your box be slacking. But yellow coin LRs, of course, are always dangerous to summon for. So then we move into the next big thing, and I know this is what a lot of people really are going to be waiting for, and this is the Tanabata celebration, which gave us the release of everyone's new favourite unit, potentially best unit in the game, and that is, of course, the AGL Goku, but no, obviously it is the father-son Gallic Gun, Trunks, and Vegeta. So Father Son, Gallic Gun, Trunks and Vegeta, still regarded by many people as the best unit in the game, even after the release of the Tech Super Saiyan Goku and the STR Cooler. And of course, now that we've seen the details and like the private server showcases for the Part 2 LRs, a lot of people consider this unit to still be the best unit in the game. So I know a lot of people on Global are waiting for this unit to come out. So the timing for this one could be interesting, but we are going to look at that at the very end. I have been going through the JP timeline, but obviously we're going to compare it to the global timeline from last year when we get to the end. So Bond of Parent and Child is obviously a crazy category. The extra 30% goes to Battle of Fate. Obviously they do have Future Saga as well. A lot of units get 200% off of this, including a lot of Gokus and Vegetas, Trunkses. So very, very good. They guard, as long as they're in slot 1, they just guard all the time. They raise defense on Super, 1 turn on 12 key, infinite stack on their 18 key. So obviously in longer form events, like they can reach some pretty ridiculous numbers while taking basically no damage from anything. Cell Max, I think, still does damage to them in like slot 1 with a Super, but I mean, it's not really a good measuring bar considering he destroys like 95% of the game with his super attack. So this unit, very, very good. Dokkan Fest exclusive LR, very, very powerful. Gives Majin Vegeta a new lease of life because now a unit that has Trunks in the name that is actually ridiculously good. Even though he's not on Majin Vegeta's 200% lead, just getting the 170% is more than enough for this unit because he is incredibly good. So I know a lot of people are saving up ready for this guy. So that was the official Tanabata Festival banner. Then we go into July, and of course the Part 2 LR. We had a whole other bunch of Easy A's, and then the Part 2 LR for the Tanabata celebration was the Int Fusion Zamasu. So Int Fusion Zamasu is another very good unit. A lot of people still think he's the best yellow coin LR. Very, very powerful. His team definitely needed the buffs, and of course the tech one getting an easy A will definitely make this an attractive option to a lot of people to summon for, because him and the tech one as a rotation is ridiculously powerful. Very good buffs for the Future Saga and everything. So this unit, very, very strong. I don't know how they compare. Like, again, we only just seen the details in the private server showcases, so I don't know what the non-DFE list looks like. Although I guess technically you probably put Tech Goku above this guy, right? Because even though he's a Carnival exclusive, he's a non-Dokkan Fest LR. But they're kind of becoming their own thing now, so I'm not really sure how people are going to compare them in the community, but people compare everything, so I'm sure they will at some point. But this unit is very, very good. The only problem, again, just like the Golden Freezer, is that this is going to be a yellow coin legendary summon banner, which are definitely not the best banners to summon on, so I definitely would be careful if you want to go for this unit. I definitely would be very excited to summon for him. He is very, very good. So going back to the timeline, so that takes us up to the end of July, which is when the JP got the final Dokkan Fest exclusive that we do not have on Global, which is Pan. So Tech Pan, I saw a lot of people on day one saying that she was flat out the new best TUR, and then as time went on and people used her a bit more, I've seen people dropping off from saying that. She's ridiculously good defensively in slot 1. And then basically all the reason why you see people slandering her and all the clips and stuff is that she has a ridiculous amount of damage reduction before attacking. So she's really, really strong in slot 1 before she attacks. And then she attacks, and then you get super attacked and she can die because she doesn't have that damage reduction anymore. But the unit does an insane amount of damage. She infinitely stacks attack, and if you're getting her unit super, it's a greatly raise attack. So you guys have probably seen screenshots of using the active skill, which is greatly raises attack temporarily, does ultimate damage and chance to crit 59%. There are screenshots of her, because she builds up attack, getting to like AGL Broly in red zone, and then using the active skill and doing like 30 million damage and just like killing him, which is pretty cool. So she's an interesting unit, but she, to me, very much, again, fills that same slot as the Resurrection of F Blues, where she's a very solid filler Dokkan Fest, but if you don't summon for her, like you don't get her, it's not really going to be the end of the world. So she's an interesting unit, but nothing to go too crazy for. And then, of course, we move into August, where I believe there was no Part 2 LR for Pan. Now, we got a new Prime Battle LR with the TN. And then, of course, we got the, that's it, they got the double rates like waifu banner. Now, when this comes out on Global with Chilai and Farsha, because of the update and what they were talking about with the new banner format, this should be a carnival banner that now gives out the green coins or teal coins or whatever you want to call it. So that's a very interesting prospect for people who do want to summon for the Chilai and the Farsha, because they're both like busted. So if you summon for them, you are actually going to get the teal coins from the summons, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, that leads us up to the beginning of the worldwide celebration, which is, of course, where we are right now. So if we compare that to last year's timeline on Global, so the worldwide celebration takes up the whole of September. Then we move into October, and literally on the 6th of October, that was when we got the first Dokkan Fest last year after the Worldwide. So around this day, I wouldn't expect the numbers to be exactly right, because if I have a look at the calendar here quickly, the 6th of October is a Thursday. So it could be, or it could be for me like the 7th, which would be Friday morning. A lot of stuff releases on Friday. But around this time is when the Dokkan Fest comes out. So this should be the resurrection of F Blues. And then as we look down, Gohan's Part 2 LR, which was the Int Gohan, Goku and Piccolo, came out on the 21st of October. So around this date should be the release date for LR Golden Freezer. So then we just had a world tournament and some awakenings, and we move into November. Then November, this is where, for the first time, they brought it forward by a month. This is when Global got the Tanabata LR festival from last year. So here on the 4th of November, so again, it could be the 3rd, could be the 5th. The 4th of November, this is the slot where this will obviously be Father, Son, Gallic Gun, Trunks and Vegeta, and this is the AGL Goku Black. So they should be releasing at the beginning of November. And then right after that, as we get towards the end of November, we then get the Hero Celebration. Now, as you can see, there's no LR Janemba, who was the Part 2 LR from the Gogeta thing before. And this is a big controversy on Global. A lot of people complained about this. We ended up having to wait until, I think, was it January or even the beginning of February to get Janemba. So this potentially means that Int Fusion Zamasu could be delayed until the beginning of 2022, but obviously we can only go by last year's plan. I have no idea what they are going to do. Then Heroes comes out. Heroes is a big one for me, and I know a lot of people that follow the channel. I know some people don't care about it at all, but this year I feel like it's going to be wild. We should get a 200% lead for Heroes. The headline unit should be Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, apparently, based on the trends from the previous years and how they've picked the main unit based on what the card game has been doing. We're going to get a ton of Easy A's, including like the STR Super Saiyan 3 Xeno Goku, who's going to be potentially one of the best defensive Easy A TURs in the game. So Hero Celebration is going to be big for a lot of people. Obviously, if you're not interested in it, then it's something you don't have to factor in for your saving. But then also last year, they did a lot of buffs for like Awakenings and Easy A's for general crossover units and not just Heroes. So very much looking forward to seeing what happens in November. And then we move into December. So this is where we got a Dokkan Fest at the beginning of December, which was the Tech, Kale and Caulifla. Now I know people think that we kind of follow this pattern all the time where we always get like a Tournament of Power Dokkan Fest on Global in December, but in theory this is the slot where Pan would then be releasing, right? So Pan would be the last Dokkan Fest of the year for Global, and then as we get later into December, now Pan didn't have a Part 2 LR, so maybe this could be replaced with her. This could be where we get Zamasu. Although that would be kind of weird if, because yeah, let me just double check. Pan definitely did not have a Part 2 LR, did she? No, because she came out right at the end of July and then we went into the download celebration stuff. So I guess they could fit Zamasu in at the end of December. That would be interesting. Because I don't think there isn't, just going back across it, there is no other, like, yeah, there's no other Part 2 LR or anything that needs to fit in there. So that could be interesting, to have the release of Zamasu here, because I know a lot of people probably wouldn't be that bothered about Pan, and then you can just jump in for the Part 2 and summon for Zamasu. But again, he could just be delayed until the end of the year. And then, of course, in December, they don't show it on here because it's not new, But in December, Global gets the actual Tanabata, like, full-on LR banner that will have the Vegeta and Trunks, but then it will also have the 7-year LRs on it as well, which will be the first time they return to be available with red coins. So that's everything that's coming up from now until the end of the year. We already talked about, obviously, the actual banners and the units themselves at the beginning. So it all, of course, always comes down to you and what works best for your box, how much you spend, like all that kind of stuff. Whether or not you really want to go for the Part 2 LRs, or if you want to be focusing on any of this stuff that is coming out throughout the rest of the year. So let me know what you guys are thinking down below. What is the thing you are most looking forward to by the end of the year? Obviously, Heroes is a big one for me, even though it's not necessarily for everybody. But let me know what you guys are thinking of your plan for the rest of 2022 for Dokkan Battle. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.